Okay, well, happy Tuesday, everyone. It is the last Tuesday of April. Welcome to Can Do Links to Learning. We're excited. This is our final session, our third session with Karen Paul from JEDI. So we're super excited. She's going to talk about RESPs today and other ways and other good ways of saving. So I think it's a really good conversation, important one to have. So glad you're joining us. You know, how was your day? How is life going? I had a really good opportunity to sit with some knowledge keepers today. So that's always good medicine. There's always space and room in your life to sit with those knowledge keepers, hear those stories, remind us of why we ought to live in this good way and all of the good gifts of Creator. So we give a shout out to Creator for this day, the gifts that surround us. Spring is in the air. The animals are out. Well, they're out more than usual because it's their season now. They're going to be walking along this Mother Earth. The gifts of all the medicines and the plants and the waters and all of our relatives, the two-legged, the four-legged, the swimmers, the winged ones. All of these are good gifts from Creator. So we give you thanks, Creator, for the gift of another day. And we give thanks for this opportunity that we can gather here in this virtual forum. So we're honored that you're all here. I am going to just give a little spiel about our guest speaker. So like I said earlier, this is her third session with us, and we're really just going back to the basics. So she is an Indigenous Adult Learning and Literacy Program Coordinator for JEDI. She's been working with JEDI, which is the Joint Economic Development Initiative, for the last 5 years. In her role, she provides Indigenous Workplace Essential Skills, digital literacy, financial literacy, upskills for work, and job search technique workshops to Indigenous clients across New Brunswick to help them bridge the gap between where they are presently and in the workplace. So she's really just taking us back to the basics, back to the fundamentals of finances, which is like so important. It's always good to revisit. And she also holds a bachelor's degree in computer information systems. So Karen, we're delighted to have you back. Thank you so much for joining us. So she is joining from New Brunswick. I see we got Ken here, who's joining us from Ontario, and myself, Michelle. I'm joining here from Amiskwaci, Waskagan, Edmonton, Alberta, Treaty 6 territory. So wherever you are, just take a moment to acknowledge the land in which you live on. Creator's goodness. All right, so Karen, thank you for being with us, and I'm passing this mic to you.
Thank you much. So I'd like to acknowledge that I'm seated on traditional Wolastoqey territory throughout New Brunswick. So I'd like to acknowledge that. Thank you for joining us today. This is our last session that we're going to work through together as a group. I've had some workbooks. We partnered with ABC Life Literacy, who is the organization that provides literacy courses and workbooks for newcomers, for the Indigenous population, and that's what we have here today. So I've shared my screen with you, and we're just going to go through the workbook and talk about it as we go through. I think you can see my screen if I'm not mistaken. Let's just make sure that I'm able to. So that's a yes. All right, so I'm just going to work through it. I'm going to talk. If you have any questions, you can ask those in the chat section, and maybe we can have a little chat at the end. Out of all the 4 workbooks, this is the shortest one, so we will have probably a little extra time at the end if I don't talk as fast as I normally do, because normally these workbooks are, probably 2 hours to go through, because we find a lot more time in between, topics that we get to talk about in the group. So where we only have an hour today, we try to get through as many the topics as we can, and I think that we can do it. So let's get back right to it here. So this we've partnered with the ABC Life Literacy And let me just bring up my screen. There it is right here. Okay, just 1 second here. I think I have to close out of my daughter's Cricut design. And make this a little bit smaller. Trying to find where my screen is. I am sharing my screen. I don't know which screen I'm sharing though. Just 1 second here. Close that. So I'm going to try to open that. Okay, so let me just make it a little smaller here so I can see it a little better. This is a nice drawing from a lady by the name of Leah Dorion. She's a Métis from Ottawa. And this is my favorite out of all of them. I love the purple shawls and the red dresses that are acknowledged in this particular art. It's beautiful, I think. So we partnered with ABC and TD Bank, TD Bank and the Wabano Center for Health in Ottawa. So we just kind of go through and they've talking about how to better take care of yourself by better taking care of your money. So Money Matters is all about giving you basic, practical information about money. It's going to help you better understand spending, borrowing, and saving, and how you can put the money that you have to work for you. It also shows you ways to reach your long-term goals. You'll learn about registered savings plans for helping your money grow more quickly. And if you have children, you'll also learn ways to help you save for their future. So when you're done the program, you'll have new knowledge, but you'll have some new questions. We have a list of extra resources at the end, and we'll help you to get your answers, your questions answered. So it's all about RESPs and other ways to save. How can I get ready for the future? It's so important to get ready for your future, because if you don't, then you're going to have a harder time living out your elder years or your later years in life. And we're supposed to be taking care of the future 7 generations. So if you think about that, you know, where are our people going to be in those 7 generations? And how much are we going to receive, or how much help are we going to receive along the way? And I think as time goes, things are progressively getting taken away from us. So we've got to kind of fend for ourselves, in a sense, and take care of those future goals with your own preparation now. So look at your future needs and plan for some ways to save for them. This workbook is about savings. We're going to look at ways of making the money you have right now, and the money that you save grow so much more over time. We'll learn about registered savings plans to help you get ready for your future. If you have kids, then it's important for you to know that there are registered savings plans to help your children with their future education, because we don't know where Indian Affairs is going to be as far as education is playing now. So, you know, we may not have all of that for our future generation. So it's up to us and up to our children to prepare, make it almost just a normal thing to continue to contribute to your child's education, giving them the opportunity to do better with their future as well, by having the means to go to college or go to community college or something, university. So workbook 1 of Money Matters introduced you to the Registered Education Savings Plan. It didn't talk much about it. And the Canada Learning Bond and Canada Education Savings Grants that are available from the Canadian government. In this workbook, you'll learn more about these great opportunities for helping your children to get ahead. So a savings account is an account that pays interest on the money that you deposit. Registered savings plans are savings accounts registered with the Government of Canada. These plans offer tax breaks and sometimes money bonuses to help you meet your future needs. So here's a little self-assessment quiz to think about. Check off the statement that best applies to you and think about your future and the future of your children, your spouse or partner, the ones that you love. What do you want for them and for you 10 years from now or 20 years from now? What money will you need to reach those dreams? So number one, I'm not able to save any money. Even a little bit is too difficult on what income I have. Two, I might be able to save if I could figure out on how to go about it. Number three, I save now, but I'm probably not getting the most out of my money. And four, none of the above applies to me. Here's my situation. If you just won the Powerball, you don't have to worry about those kind of things because you'll have money up the kazoo at that point. You don't have to worry about it. But when you think about it, where you are in your life right now is financially, if you do have children, think about their future. Have you opened up your RESP? Do you know what an RESP is at this point for your child? If you don't, then we're going to teach you about how it is. I know that some people in my classes didn't know about it. As soon as they heard about it, they went up and opened it. So, and then whatever money that you put in, the government will match it. So it's almost like free money. So do you find that there is just not enough money left after food, shelter, and bills to be able to save? And are you concerned about saving money for your future? Is saving important to you? So if it's not important, then switch her up and make it important, because no one's going to take care of you except you when it comes down to it. So start taking care of yourself as young as you can. Find, when you do get a job, find that company that provides an RSP that you can contribute in, and they'll match it. That's the best way, because in the end, you'll end up with free money in your account that your employer gave to you. So lots of people are just trying to make ends meet today. It's a really tough economy. Everything's going up, up, up. The price of gas is ridiculous. You got to start finding ways to kind of cut back. They're saying that prices went up 44% from when people were working in person in offices 2 years ago, as they'd have just going back now. That everything that they used to pay for to go to work for is now 44% higher. That's in the city, of course, but still, it just shows you within 2 years, and with this whole war thing going on, how much things can change so quickly. So do you think that you need to save large amounts of money to make savings worth it? If you think about that for a minute, like, is it really worth it if I'm not putting $500 in my bank account each time? Personally, I think if I put $100 in there, if I put $10 in there, it's $10 that wasn't in there before, or it's $100 that wasn't in there before. And each time you do that, the amount is going to still increase and increase and increase. So whether or not you're increasing by $10 or $20, that's still fine. If you're increasing by $100 and $200, that's great. But at least you're saving, and just the depositing that money in makes it worth it, really does. Matthew and Raven are back in the picture. Matthew's daughter is getting older, but he wants to make sure she can get opportunities he didn't have growing up. It's still a long way off, but he wants to get it right. He's been following a spending plan that leaves him some money at the end of every month, but he wants to do more. What help can he get in saving for her future? Raven, on the other hand, knows she wants to start putting money aside for her retirement, but she has other plans too. She wants to expand her business in a few years, and later this year, she wants to go on vacation somewhere warm. But where is the money for these things going to come from? Raven decides to pack a lunch each day instead of buying out, and that saves about $100 a month. She also looks at her phone and cable bills to see if there are some services that she can do without. So there's a little app that's out there that will look for your subscriptions that you have and kind of keep you on top of them, which I think is a great idea, because a lot of times you don't realize what you have and your credit card is getting charged, or your debit card, and you may not even use that service anymore, and you're just kind of throwing that money out the window, really, essentially, because you didn't realize you had it and you're still paying for a service that you're not using. So go through your subscriptions on your phone to see what you're using. Maybe someone else was playing with your phone that was able to install something and use, sign up for something. Just take a look through it and see, you might be able to save some money there. So saving doesn't happen all on its own. We have to plan for it. You have to have that gumption to actually take the money. I have a friend of mine who's saving for a car, a different car. And she said, I am going to save for that car by opening up another bank account at another bank and making it only a savings only and not be able to withdraw money. She just wants it, like if she does, she'll have to go into the branch. But she made it so that there's no debit card and she can only take out a couple of transactions in the month. So that's really good for her because she's making, she has a goal of saving for her car. So she makes, every week, she makes that extra effort of taking that $100 and going to that other bank and putting it in the bank. And I'm really proud of her for that because she's come a long way and haven't been able to practice good financial habits. It's important that we plan for it. If you don't have money set aside, what happens if you lose your job or you get sick? What happens to the people who depend on you? And if you have children or if you have a big family and you're the primary breadwinner and you lose your job, they say you should really have up to 3 months worth of savings put away, 3 months worth of salary in a savings account put away in the event that you should lose your job or become sick, so that you'll have enough to pay your rent, you'll have enough to pay your electricity, your cable, your heat, your food, to get you through until you're able to get back up on your feet again. So that's a nice safety net that you create for yourself. So Matthew and Raven are at different stages in life. You can tell, he's let's see what Matthew is doing now, going back. He's getting older. He wants to, to help his daughter up. He wants to create that spending plan that gives him some money at the month, but he wants at the end of the month, but he wants to do more. And Raven wants to go on vacation somewhere warm. So if you don't have money set aside, okay, so we've been there. So that's normal. At different times in our lives, our money needs change. So do the ways we might best go about saving. So does anyone have any savings goals right now that you're saving for?
Like
Anybody?
maybe a new car, maybe. Like I like my car now, but eventually, like it's getting older. And it'd be nice to not to have to finance.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. That's a really great idea. It might take you a little while, but if you're putting all of your best effort into that, it may not take as long as you think. By the time you add in all the interest that you would get from your savings account, that's really great. So if you're not saving for anything, why aren't you? Anybody? If you're not saving for anything, why aren't you? Is it because you don't want anything? You can't afford it, perhaps? You have other priorities, perhaps? If you're not saving, then why aren't you?
There was a time where I thought, oh, I couldn't afford to save. So I'm saving for my retirement. So I put money away every month. But there was a time where I thought I couldn't afford that. And so I had a conversation with my bank and they said, just try it. Like give it a try for 2 months. And if you feel like you just can't make it work, then we can not do the monthly contributions. And that changed everything for me. I was like,
Voila.
I realized I can.
Didn't even miss it, probably. No. And that's the thing. Once you do start doing it, that's the beauty of it, is that you don't miss it after you start doing it. And especially if you do it quietly, out of your bank account and kind of into the account without anybody even noticing or even saying anything. So I don't know if I just got out of where I was. I don't know, something happened, so just give me 1 sec. Okay, am I sharing the correct screen? I am screen sharing. I think I'm still on this correct one. All right, so Matthew and Raven are at different stages in their lives, and their reasons for saving are different. That's normal. At different times in our lives, our money needs changes too. So do the ways that we might best go about saving. So we talked about savings, and if you are saving, that's great. I'm saving for a Blues Fest concert that I'm going to in July for the weekend. And I've been saving for it for a while because I have a camper, and we're going to make a week camping event out of it. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's also going to cost money. So I've got to budget my way there, and that's what I've been trying to do. So what do you think would be the reasons for saving money at different stages in your life? So you think about it. If you've got teenagers that are living at home, your spending habits or saving habits might change. If you have that, you're constantly having to dish out money while they're teenagers living at home. So you got to have that constant stream or the money available to keep your kids happy. Student in school full time would require different saving habits. Young adults living independently, an employed person, an unemployed person living on a fixed income, a parent of school-age children, an empty nester like myself, planning for retirement. That's a good enough reason to change your spending and saving habits, and being retired. So those are some of the reasons why your spending habits might change, and it gives you a little chance to think about it. So when you think about it, think about your own life. Think about it and think about where you are in your stage of your life right now. So right now I'm borderline retiring. So probably in about, I'm going to say about 5 years, I could probably consider retiring. But for somebody else that's in the class today, you may be just only young, 20 years old, and you're not thinking about retirement. So your stage of life is young, and your reasons for saving might be way different than mine. You maybe think about saving for a down payment on a car or a down payment on a house if you're perhaps a young married couple or whatever. You're looking to get your own home. That's a big step, and you've got to plan for that. So as you go throughout your life, your money changes and your saving changes. They all change throughout different stages in your life. Many people find it easier to save if they do it regularly. So here's one idea, and we talked about it earlier, where you would get it just taken out of your account and just try it. Your employer said, just try it and, see what happens if you do it. If you can't afford it, you can stop, switch it around. But if you don't even notice it gone, then keep doing it, because that money's going to pile up and pile up. And then the next thing you know, you're going to look at that account and there'll be $4,000 or $5,000 in there that you didn't even realize you had. So try it. Have your bank automatically take money out of your checking account each month and deposit it into a savings account. So that's the doodah right there, is not seeing the money, not actually having to take the money and drive to the bank and give it to someone. You don't even see it, so it makes it a lot easier. So together with others in the group who are at the same stage in their life as you. So anyone here close to retirement? Probably not. You guys all look like you're pretty young. Anyone here just starting their careers? So if you have employment, maybe your employer offers an RSP program, And that's what you're going to want to look for in your life. So that's going to be your saving tool for your retirement. That's the money you're always going to put the money into. Keep throwing money into it and throwing money into it. And by the time you turn 65, you would have had quite a bit of money saved up. But if you only started when you're 55, that's only 10 years of saving. So doing it at the right time is crucial. Starting it as young as you can is crucial because you can save for a longer period of time. So many people have trouble saving because there is no money left by the time they pay for everything else. One solution is to pay yourself first. That means taking money off of the top of each paycheck to put into your savings account. After that, take care of your bills and your other needs. So it's always good to save as much as you can. 10% of your net income is a great place to start. And they say you really should be saving 30% of your income to have a good place, to be at a good place. Net income is the amount that you receive after your taxes and other deductions are taken off your paycheck. So if we're lucky or lucky and work on reserve, then you don't have that income tax taken off. But if you don't, then what money is left over from them taking out your Canada pension plan, your EI deduction, and your income tax is what's left over. That's called your net income. Your gross income is whatever you made before all those taxes. So what is 10% of your net income? Sorry, I just got to stop and get a drink. Just 1 second. Is what everyone calls Pepsi. All right, so what is 10% of your net income? To figure it out, divide your net income by 10. So whatever you make in the month after your deductions are gone, we can use a round number, like we could say $2,000. Let me find a piece of paper here. $2,000, 10% of your net income. That's going to be $200. Just open this up. Have something to write on. So your net income's $2,000. You either have your phone or your calculator on your computer or whatever. Divide that by 10, 200. So out of your $2,000 in the month, you should aim to save $200 into your savings account or into your RRSP. That'll put you in a good spot. So let's say a person's net income is $500. $500 divided by 10 is $50. 10% of 500 is 50, and that's the amount that the person would aim to save, whether it be a week, whether it be a month, whether it be every 6 months, but technically, or really, it should be once a month that you do that, so that you'll earn a little bit of interest on that every month. So let's say that saving is hard for the person. If she is to pay herself first, then she'll need to make up the $50 by cutting back on her regular spending. So in order to put that money away, she's got to be able to save it out of her budget or her spending plan. So brainstorm together ways that a person might save by cutting back on regular spending. Figure out a money value for each item and work to reach the target of $50. So cutting back on fast food is $10 a week or so. And I think that if you do that 5 days a week, it's not going to be $2 a day, that's for sure. It's more like $15 a day. So that's quite a bit of money. Anybody else have any ideas on what you could do, cut back on in order to save that $50 in the week? I think if you could drive your bike to work.
I also was going to say that too. Like, Wow.
Yeah,
If you live close to work.
right. Or if you're able to carpool, or if you're able to take your own coffee, brown bag it. Let's see what else you could do to save. You could bring your own water instead of buying water at the local store or whatever. All of those things are going to save you money. If you smoke, maybe you could cut back and you could not buy as many packs that week and put the money that you save from that into the jar. And it won't take long to save up that $50 by cutting back on other things. So getting all your money ducks in a row, think about your own spending habits. Use 10% of your net income as the target. So how might you save that amount or work towards it? So you think about it for your own situation, what your target would be. So if you make 3,000, if you make 1,000, let's just call it $1,000 a month. It's not a whole lot, but you know, a lot of people don't have a lot of money. It's hard times. So $1,000 a month, and we're going to divide it by 10. So that's $100. So out of that 1,000, I get to save $100 of it. How am I going to get that $100? So number one, I'm going to save my pocket change. Could be 50 cents or so a day. I could do a little door dashing on the side. You know, you can do that and earn money to put towards it. You could brown bag your lunch when you go to work or school every day. You could brown bag your coffee, or, you know, you would kind of say that by just taking your own instead of going to Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or wherever you go. You know, make your coffee at home. Buy a little can of coffee if you want to just try it. There's lots of great coffee out there. It's getting kind of pricier to brew your own at home, but it's way cheaper still than buying it every day from a coffee shop. That'll save the $100, I'm sure. And I would probably try to ride share, so I wouldn't have to pay for the price of gas every day. Or I would try to take the bus or ride my new bicycle, which I just bought. So, you know, you can always find ways to cut corners if your employer or is close by where your place of work. So if you aren't able to save enough to reach your target, don't give up on saving. Just keep saving what you can. So even if you can't do that $100 payment because you got electric bill coming up or you got rent that's a huge amount and you just can't get that $100 in there, try 50, try 25. Put something in there so that you can still keep going, keep the momentum going with your saving habit. It'll become habit then, and it'll really pay off in the end. So remember in past units when we talked about debt and how your debt gets bigger because you pay interest on it. The same idea applies to savings accounts and plans, but you get the interest. The amount that you save grows. So how this works. So let's say that you put your money into a savings account or a plan where you get 5% interest. So for every $100 you save in a year, you're going to get an extra $5. So the next year you'll get 5% interest on $105, because now you don't not only do you have your $100 that you still put in there, the bank gave you $5 extra for storing it at their bank. So now you got $105. And that following year, you're going to get interest on that $105, not $100 that you initially started with. It's now $105, and you get the interest on that. It's growing again, and it's called compound interest. So that's the beauty of that. If you can find yourself in a situation where you can put, you know, extra money into a savings account, you'll get compound interest, and it's a beautiful thing when it happens. So calculating interest is a great way to encourage savings as you can see your money grow. Building on the lesson from the previous page, calculate how much interest you'll get for the following savings amounts and the interest rates. So we're going to say 250. Just going to turn my phone on here from my calculator. So savings amount is 250. The interest rate is 3%. So the interest as a decimal is 0.03 and calculate the interest earned. So we take 250 times 0.04, it's going to be $10. So that's what you're going to add to it. You're going to have 250 plus 10, it's going to be $260. $500 times 0.02 is $10. So now that'll be $510 that you have from your compounded interest. Savings amount is 1,000 and the interest rate is 0.05, $50. So now you'll have $1,050. And when they go to calculate your interest at the end of that year and you keep that money in there, you're going to get 5% on $1,050 and not 1,000. Registered savings plans. The Canadian government has set up special savings plans to help you grow your money more quickly. Do one or more of the plans seem like they might work for you? So there's lots of them, and there's little acronyms or short forms of them. So the first one is Registered Education Savings Plan, or RESP. It's a savings account registered with the Government of Canada. It helps you save for a child's education after high school. When you put money into an RESP, the Government of Canada will put money in it too. If your income is limited, you might also get more financial help. You don't pay taxes on the interest that you earn in an RESP. The student pays taxes on the money when he or she uses it to go to school. A tax-free savings account is a savings account, or better known as a TFSA, is a savings account registered with the Government of Canada. It helps people save money more easily. So you can put up to $5,500 a year into your tax-free savings account. You don't pay taxes on the interest that you earn in the account, and you don't pay taxes on the money taken out of the account when you want to use it. So that's why it's a good account to have, is because they don't really charge you for any of the interest or anything like that. You don't have to pay taxes on it. So it's a good tax saver. So Registered Retirement Savings Plan, or RRSP, a savings account registered with the government. It helps people save for their retirement. You don't pay taxes on the money that you put into your RRSP or the interest that you earn on it until you take the money out of the plan. So when you're ready to retire is when you have to start paying taxes on it. But you can save up to as much money as you want in there and don't have to pay any taxes on the interest that you earn. So if you remember Matthew, he's worried about being able to save money for his daughter's education. One way for him to meet this future goal is an RESP. RESP is short for Registered Education Savings Plan. It's a way to save for a child's future education. So how it works, the more money you put into the RESP, the more money you'll save over time and the more interest that you'll gain. You can start saving when a child is born. Both you and the child need a SIN number for you to set it up. The money that you put into it grows tax-free. The child pays the tax when he or she withdraws the money for school. Since most students have little or no income at that time when they just come out of school, the child will probably pay little or no tax on the money. The Canadian government offers ways to make your RESP grow more quickly. Check out the Canada Learning Bond and the Canada Education Savings Grant. So they put those in bold there for you to check them out, and I'll give you an idea of what they are in just a second. So how the Canadian government helps your RESP money grow. So the type of plan is just the Canadian Learning Bond. It's money from the government to help you start saving for your child's education after high school. Your child could get $500 now to help you start saving, and an extra $100 each year up until the age of 15. That's up to $2,000 for your child's education, and you don't have to put any of your own money into the RESP to get the bond. So that's a good one. Who can get that? Anyone whose child was born after December 31st, 2003, and who gets a Canada Child Benefit. Canada Education Savings Grant Basic. or better known as the basic CESG. It's money from the government of Canada to help you start saving for your child's education after high school. Excuse me, a payment of 20% on your RESP contributions up until the year your child turns 17. That means for every $10 you add to the RESP, the Canadian government adds another $2. Who can get it? Anyone. The Canada Education Savings Grant Additional, so that's better known as the Additional CESG. It's money from the Government of Canada in addition to the basic one. It's a payment on top of what you've already received for the basic CESG. You might get an extra 10% or 20% on the first 500 or less that you put into your RESP in a year. So who can get that? The amount of money that your child can receive depends on the net family income of the child's primary caregiver. So whoever has custody or wherever the child lives, mostly would be based on that person's income. If it's not very much, or it's not, exorbitant amount, then you may get some extra help. So Matthew makes $22,000 a year. Let's say that he sets up his daughter's RESP when she is 10 years away from going to college. How much might Matthew save over those 10 years? So Matthew puts $50 a month in a jar in his kitchen. So $50 a month times 12 months in a year, that's $600 a year. $600 a year times 10 years is $6,000 for education. That sounds pretty good, right? A Canada Learning Bond is a grant available from the Government of Canada. It is for families with lower incomes to help build up their RESP. So here's another option for Matthew. Matthew puts $50 a month in a savings account. So $50 a month times 12 months in a year is $600 a year plus interest. So he's earning a little bit more from just having a jar on top of the fridge, right? So $600 a year times 10 years is $6,000 plus interest for education. So that's even better than the first option. So a Canada Education Savings Grant, CESG, is money given to you by the government and put into your RESP. The amount depends on how much money you put into your RESP and your family's income. So the third option, Matthew puts $50 a month in an RESP and also receives money from the CESG and the CLB. So $50 a month times 12 months in a year is $600 a year plus $120 from the CESG plus interest. So $720 a year times 10 years plus the $1,400 from the CLB is $8,600 plus interest for education. So Matthew was going to do $6,000 by just having a jar on top of the fridge, not earning any interest off it. But instead, he went with option 3 and starting putting money into that. And with that, the government kicked in a little more. So he earned $2,600 more plus interest by opening up these accounts. So it's really worth it to open up an account for your child. Think of your own family and how much money you could put in an RESP each month. How much in general might you have in the RESP account when your child is ready for college, university, trade school, or an apprenticeship program? It gives you an opportunity to calculate it out to say, ooh, that sounds like I might want to do that. So if you have children or grandchildren, what do they say what they want to be when they grow up? And how much money do you think they'll need to pay for their education after high school, whether they pursue this dream or another one? How will they get this money to become a doctor, become a pathologist, become a surgeon? Where are they going to get the money? Do you see an RESP as something you might like to set up for your child? And are the Canada Learning Bond and the Canada Education Savings Grants opportunities you'd like to take advantage for your family? How can you go about setting up your RESP and applying for those grants and whatnot? Easy peasy stuff. To get an RESP, you need a social insurance number for you and your child. You can open one at an RESP provider, which can be a bank or another financial institution like a credit union, a group plan dealer, or a certified financial planner. And if you're interested in getting a CLB or additional CESG, ask your provider if they offer them before setting up your accounts, because there's no sense in setting up an account and them not being able to offer to apply for those grants on your behalf. So to get a Canada Learning Bond, ask your RESP provider that you just called up or just contacted to apply for the CLB. The CLB money will be deposited directly into your child's RESP after they applied for it. And remember, you don't have to put any money into your RESP to get that Canada Learning Bond. Getting a basic CESG, so you make a deposit in your child's RESP. Once your deposit is made, your RESP provider will apply for the grant on your behalf automatically. So you just have to make a small deposit and they'll take care of it for you. And getting that additional CESG, ask your RESP provider to fill out the additional Canada Savings Grant form to find out if your child is eligible. So the only thing you'll need is 10 minutes, your child's name, birth date, and postal code, and your postal code. So you complete the application online. It takes about 5 minutes. Book an appointment with your financial institution online or by giving them a call. Bring your government issued photo ID and social insurance number to the appointment. So that could be your status card, or it could be your driver's license or your provincial ID. Sign the application, give it to them. The financial institution sends your application to the government, and now you have an RESP for your child. If you're approved for the Canada Learning Bond, the government begins putting money into your new RESP. Hooray! So you go to startmyresp.ca/money matters. Choose the language you'd like, English. They don't have Mi'kmaq or any Cree or no other languages like that. They only have probably English and French and all the others. Choose what language you'd like to submit your application in. Read an overview of the process. It's just very simple. Share your postal code. They'll give you a list of financial institutions that can open it up for you. You choose one. Even if you don't bank with them, just make sure you pick one that's available in your province or your territory. So, don't open one that's in BC if you live in New Brunswick. Try to get something that's local to your area that the bank branches are close to you in town, like CIBC, TD, BMO, Scotiabank, Royal Bank. Then you go enter your child's name and birth date and decide now if you want to book an appointment online or on the phone. And that's it, you're done. So a tax-free savings account. Do you have other things for which you'd like to save for besides a child's education? You might consider a tax-free savings account. It's short for just that, TFSA. You set up the tax-free savings account at a bank or another financial institution. You must be a Canadian resident, age 18 or older. You must also have a social insurance number. And you can put up to $5,500 of your own money into per year into the account, and your money will grow tax-free. You can take your money out of the tax-free account without being taxed on it, and you can use the money any way you like. So it's a really good way to save your money and grow a little bit and not pay any more money on it. So think about your age right now. How many years until your retirement? This is really an eye-opener. So I'll probably retire, I'm going to say in 5 years. So our RSP is short for Registered Retirement Savings Plan. What's important to you? Think about your stage in your life. What do you need more money for right now? And does that include saving for your retirement? Number one, I'm too young to think about saving for retirement right now. I have lots of time in the future. Number two, I'm too old to start saving for retirement to make any difference. I should have started earlier. And that's where I'm at, to be honest, is, I've jumped from job to job. A lot of places did not offer an RSP that I could pay into. That's kind of the situation I'm in now. So I've started, and hopefully I'll at a better situation 10 years from now. But some people think they're too young to worry about it, but that's not the case, because the younger you start, the better off you're going to be, and the bigger your nest egg will be in the end. So if you dream for a little bit, how would you like to spend your retirement? And now, if you think about it, I'd like to be in Florida in a nice little double wide somewhere that's on the ocean, and that's what I'd like to do. But think of the reality. Where are you going to live? How are you going to spend your time? What money are you going to have? And is it going to be enough? Go back to your dream. Is there a part of the dream that could become a reality? How much money will you need and how can you save it? So if that becomes my goal, I can do a lot in 10 years. Watch me. So why do you think that money that put into an RRSP grows by such leaps and bounds? And why is it money smart to start saving for your retirement as early as you can? So you could set up an RESP, a tax-free savings account, and an RRSP at the bank or financial institution of your choice. Let's say you open an RRSP today. From now on, every month you save $50 and put it in your RRSP. It earns 5% compound interest. How much money will you have saved between now and when you turn 65? Thanks to the interest, how much money will your money have grown? So let's just say today I'm 50 and the amount that your money will have grown from the time that I can retire would be $9,000. That's what I would have saved. And my amount will have grown $12,947. So that's not a whole lot. If I would have done that when I was 20, I would have saved $27 per year. I would have had $95,820 instead of $12,947. So if you can start that as early as you can, start it now. So imagine if you save $60 instead of $50 every month. If you started when you were 20 instead of 55, you'd have $114,984 in your RRSP by the time you're 65. A little bit now can make a big difference down the road. And that's where I'm going to stop.
All right, Karen. I mean, I feel like you got me in dream world right now. I'm already thinking about my retirement, where I want to be.
Yeah.
I think Ken had a question in the chat box about the Registered Education Savings Program. So plan, if that child doesn't end up going to school, can they use that money for other things?
They can transfer it to another child, grandchild, anything like that.
Okay.
You can transfer it to another sibling. There's another child, but I think it needs to go towards education. But you can choose someone in your family unit to transfer that money to.
Okay. Awesome.
It's Ken. So that was the problem when I originally heard this program come out. That now I don't think it's still the case, but originally, if the child didn't go on to education and there was only the one child that you had, and you didn't have anybody else, you would lose part of the funds, and the funds would go in to be pooled by other people. So you put money in, you can't even get in what you put into it, and it goes to other people. So that was a big flaw going way back when. Now that provision may no longer exist, but it was, you put the money in, if the child passes away, gets killed in a car accident, those funds are lost. Or the funds go into a pool for other children, not your family, they don't come back to you. So that was an issue way back when. Now I'm sure that's somehow they've stepped aside from that, but that was a concern. One of the other things, since I've got the floor, is that the problem with an RRSP is that if you start out making when you're young, you're making $20,000 a year, your tax rate is very low. So you put it into an RRSP. When you're ready to retire, say you're making 100,000, your tax rate now is very high. You're going to take it out, you're paying a bigger tax. So I mean, you're screwed if you do, and you're screwed if you don't. So
there's pros and cons for it.
Yeah. So sorry to hug the show, but you got to go into this with your eyes open.
That's right, for sure.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I see we have I wanted to comment on what you had said, Ken, but we're short on time, and I see Kate is here. She is in the house and she has her hand up. So join us, Kate.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Karen, for sharing knowledge on financial wellness. I, too, am a strong advocate for financial knowledge and wellness and empowerment. You're absolutely right, Ken. There used to be things that were called private RESPs, and that was part of their policy, was things would be pooled if you didn't access that. Now with financial institutions, you can do family policies where they can actually change and transition to others who do attend. If that doesn't happen, what happens is you do get your contribution portion back, but you do not receive the granting opportunity or the money earned in the investment of that. You just get what you contribute.
So you don't
there are
get the
limits.
interest.
Yes.
You don't-
Right.
Well, yeah,
You don't
you
get-
know, you only get your contribution part.
Not the interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And with the RESP versus, or sorry, the TFSA versus the RRSP discussions, yeah, usually when you're zero or low income, tax-free savings accounts are probably a better option for people. When they start hitting that higher taxable income, then most people will probably benefit more from the deferred tax on an RRSP. Keep in mind that any contributions to an RRSP is based on previous tax returns. So they give you that benefit of saying, or they give you the statement saying this is your allowable contribution going forward. Again, when people have low income or zero taxable income, the tax-free savings account is likely a better option. And they have, it's a retroactive opportunity for both of them. One defers the tax until you withdraw it, and the other one will never be taxable. So yeah, thank you so much, Karen. I really enjoy listening into things, so I appreciate this. We're gonna have to chat offline sometime.
I know,
Introduce
right?
ourselves.
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
thank you again. Thank you to the funder for always opening these conversations. So important that we share and have these conversations.
Yes, yes. Shout out to Can Do. Karen, it's been so good, having 3 sessions back to back with you. Always a pleasure. It's, what JEDI offers, what you've offered is like an excellent resource, excellent tool. I walk away today thinking about what are some ways that I can save, and I just think that that's so important, so valuable. So thank you so much for all of these reminders that you brought to us, because again, it's about financial wellness and wellness in all areas of our lives, and this is a huge one. So thank you so much. We are honored that you spent some time with us here at Can Do, and thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you again. So be well.
Bye, everyone. Stay well.